Hi, whether you are married, in a committed relationship, or dating someone, it can feel really good, especially in the beginning when someone is super, super close with you. They want to know your every thought, your every concern, where you're going, how you're dressing, who you're hanging out with, who you're talking to. It just seems like they're so interested and invested, but there are some relational red flags in that. And sometimes we can start to feel irritated. We can start to feel just really fed up or sick of it, but then we feel like we're not being loving, or we feel like we're not being as close to them as they want, and we feel like we can't give them what they want, and then we can blame ourselves for it. But actually, these could be relationship red flags that you might be ignoring, and we're going to talk about that and what to do about it. Hi, my name is Olivia, and I am passionate about helping you understand what relational trauma is so that you can prevent it, overcome it, and move on with your life. So everything today is going to come from the relationship trust boundary model. This is a model I developed a few years ago. I will put a QR code to the book on the screen, and also a link to the course in the book will always be in the description. So today we're going to look at, well, how much is like too close, and what does it mean when everything in me is screaming like get back or get off, but I feel bad because of it. It's very confusing sometimes in relationships. So if we look at the relationship trust boundary model, we can see there is a spot for self. This is you, this is me. Nobody shares a model. We all have our own model. And then you can see we have a partner rung. So with the partner rung, no one goes there but partner, and no one else ever goes in self. So nobody goes in that space but me. No matter if I'm married, no matter if I'm in a committed relationship, if I'm dating, whatever it is I'm doing, no one is supposed to go there but me. So things that make up self are your thoughts and your feelings. What are you thinking? What are you worried about? What are you concerned about? What are you planning? What are your greatest traumas, your greatest fears? How are you feeling day to day? All of those things, and your physical body, every part of your body from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, all of that belongs to you. So nobody gets access to that regardless of their title without your say so. That doesn't matter if you're married, doesn't matter if you're dating in a committed relationship. It doesn't matter if they decide to give you full access to them, right? It's what you decide. So part of understanding some of those relationship red flags, and to see if we're ignoring them, is to understand what are your relational rights. And that can be kind of tricky. So once we understand, oh, I own every thought I'm having, I own every feeling I'm having, I own every past experience I've ever had, every future hope I'm ever going to have, all of that is mine, including my body. If all that is mine, then I decide what I share. I decide what I'm going to give you. I don't just give up full rights to all of those things and become like this robot person that now you're in charge of and control of in the name of love. That doesn't have anything to do with love. So if I love you, I'm going to decide what's appropriate and what I feel and want to share. So here is part of the red flag. If someone is demanding access to here, they're saying, tell me every thought you're thinking. And if you don't tell me every thought you're thinking, you're lying. That is not true. You don't have to tell everyone every thought you're thinking. You always have a right to privacy, even if you're married. You have a right to privacy if you're dating. You decide what you want to share. Because sometimes, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but you're making sense of your thoughts. You haven't had time to fully process it through. So I'm not really going to share every single thought I'm having, especially before I've come to some determination or conclusion, because it's kind of like trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube. Once it's out, it's out. And maybe I don't even feel that way in 24 hours or in 10 minutes. So I don't have to give anyone every thought I'm thinking or every feeling I'm feeling. That is private, and I decide what I'm going to share. So one huge red flag is if someone is demanding that you say every single thing you're thinking and every single thing you're feeling. Nobody has the right to demand that of you. I mean, someone can demand it, but it's not your job to disclose it. You can say, yeah, I'm not ready to share, or that's not something I'm comfortable sharing. And that's if you're married. That's if you're dating in a committed relationship. So remember, a red flag is if someone is trying to force their way in there by demanding you say what it is you're thinking and feeling. Another relational red flag that we might be ignoring. And by the way, you can comment in the comments, how do you ignore these red flags? So if that's happened to you, how did you excuse it, or how did you ignore it? Obviously only share what you're comfortable sharing. But if you really think about it, it's like, how did I just feel all that pressure to share, not want to share, but then somehow flip it on myself and make it something's wrong with me, or I feel bad because I'm not sharing. I don't know that we would need to feel bad for not sharing. Maybe, we can feel concerned or feel that, this is too bad. I don't feel comfortable sharing this, but let me just use that information to look deeper. Like, why do I not want to share? Is it because they always use what I share against me? They weaponize it? Or is it because I just don't really know what I feel yet, so I'm not ready to share? Like, what is the root of me not sharing or wanting to share this? Because there's probably more information in that for you there. And sometimes you just don't know, and you just don't know how you feel yet. And that's okay too. So that's one huge red flag, someone demanding to go there by getting access to your thoughts and feelings. They can ask and you can share to the extent you're comfortable, but when someone starts demanding and then trying to punish you for not sharing, that's where the red flag lies, because it's in the punishment that you're going to find them trying to control you. And in a relationship, a healthy relationship has the absence of power and control. Once you get more into domestically violent relationships, you're going to see the presence of power and control. Someone trying to gain power over you in an effort to control you. So when someone's trying to control you, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to go right there and demand that you give up those thoughts and feelings. So the second part of that would be physical, your physical body. So this is someone who is demanding to go there physically. And that can look a lot of ways. So what we're going to kind of start with something that's maybe a bit lighter and work our way down. So something like tickling. Tickling can seem innocent. It can be fun. It can be playful. But where tickling crosses that line and someone is now forcing themselves there is if I feel powerless to make it stop. So if I'm like, okay, enough, like I'm going to pee my pants, or I can't breathe, right? You're making it so I can't breathe, like that's enough. And they don't stop, they lay it on thicker, or they keep going. And in the end, you'll feel it. It feels so bad. It feels gross. It feels, you feel small, or you might be furious by the time it stops. So something like tickling, if you feel powerless to make it stop, it's not okay. That is someone getting control by forcing themselves access to your body physically without your permission. And especially when you're telling them to stop and they don't. So a healthy relationship, the absence of those red flags, would be when you feel fully in charge of your body to say when it's accessed, when someone's allowed to touch you, when they have to stop touching you, when you're just not in the mood, you're not ready, you don't want any touching, and they respect that. When someone is trying to get access to that and it's a giant red flag, it is not okay, it has that element of control, and they're trying to force themselves there, this is where they start to kind of manipulate you. So they can guilt trip you. They can try to scare you. Like, if you're not going to give it to me, I'm going to go find it somewhere else. Huge red flag. That's sort of like, now you're giving me permission to go cheat. And when you find out, it's going to be your own fault because you didn't give me what I was demanding, what I wanted. That's never okay. Giant red flag. So the red flag lies in someone's want to get their self in your self space. They're demanding that you allow them access to your body physically or emotionally or mentally. So another kind of a red flag would be, if they just keep asking and keep asking and keep asking, and somehow there's an implication that they're owed. You owe them this. Because they did this thing for you, now you owe them this. Or because they put up with this from you, now you owe them this. Or maybe it's a special event, it's a holiday. There's lots of ways that people can make us feel like we owe them that, when the reality is, now that I understand my relational rights, one of them being, no one goes here but me. I decide what I'm going to share. So I can go out of here and share it with you, but you don't get to have full access to this ever. This belongs to me. So if I decide to share these parts of myself, parts of my body, parts of my mind, parts of my feelings with you, that's because I decided to share it with you. You don't get to guilt me, demand this of me, force me in any of those types of ways, whether it's physically, emotionally, or mentally. I decide what I give to you. And if that is not good enough for you, you actually are the one that has a problem, because poor boundaries is when we overstep and demand that from our partner. So sometimes we are concerned and sometimes we are scared that they're not sharing with us. And so we can get really demanding and intrusive and maybe even controlling. But remember, we don't have the right to do that. We can ask, and then we hope that they're going to reciprocate. We hope that they're going to want to share. But if they're not ready, we have to deal with how it feels for them not being ready yet. It's not their job to make us feel comfortable by forcing themselves open and allowing us here. That is not okay. That's not a healthy relationship. So some of the red flags are feeling pressured, feeling punished, feeling scared, feeling helpless, right? If I feel scared to tell you no, if I feel helpless in making this stop, if I feel guilty for not giving you full access to self, all of those are giant red flags in a relationship. And it's those feelings that you could be ignoring. You could be ignoring the pressure of, them demanding that of you. You could ignore the feeling of feeling guilty for not being ready or wanting it, or you can feel, sad that you're not pulling your weight, or whatever it is anyone's helping us to think. So remember, anytime that someone is demanding to go in this part of the rung, which is yourself, which is made up of your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, and your physical body, if someone is forcing their way in there, that's a giant red flag and we don't want to ignore it. And the things that we're probably ignoring is the way it's making us feel. And again, guilty, frustrated, helpless, feeling small. But remember, you have relational rights. So let's say that I have a partner who is demanding my every thought. They're demanding access to all my emails, demanding access to all my texts. They want to know every person my eyes saw and every person that spoke into my ear. They want to see every text I sent that day. They want to start to control what I put on my body, like my clothes, where I take my body, where I go, right? Or they want access to my thinking, my feelings, to my body, and then they use all these tactics to try and get that from me. One thing I can say is, hey, you know what? I've already told you no, and I would appreciate you not asking me again. Like, I don't want to hear it again the rest of the night. And if they're like, fine, then I'll go find it somewhere else. Well, that's what you choose, and that's not going to be okay. That's not going to work. That's not going to help us have a relationship, a healthy relationship. So there are ways to hold that line and to set that boundary. But if you feel scared to do that because of retaliation, whether it's physically, financially, maybe they're going to punish your children because you're trying to stick up for your rights, all of that's pointing towards domestic violence. And there is a great resource. It's called thehotline.org. It's always linked in my description. You can go there and it just very easily tells you this is what abuse is, this is what domestic violence is, and you can talk to a counselor 24/7 for free on the phone, or you can chat with them. They will help you make a safety plan if you are in physical danger, and that's a resource that's always available to you. So if you're scared to say no because you don't want to hurt their feelings, that could still be a part of domestic violence. It may be worth looking into. But for sure, if you physically feel unsafe, then I would really encourage you to seek help, because just because someone has that type of a problem, or they have a problem with hearing no, or they have a problem understanding that you don't want them in that way right now, whatever that looks like, then that is worth addressing. That is a problem that needs to be addressed, because if we keep ignoring it, chances are it's going to just continue to escalate beyond a point that maybe we really feel like we can't deal with. So you can seek help in your local area from a therapist. You can get the relationship trust boundary model, learn how to take your rights back and how to have boundaries. And again, if you're dealing with something that is more towards that domestic violence, you want to take that very seriously and seek help, educate yourself, beef up your support system, and also make sure that you're, letting someone know what you're dealing with and what you're going through. Sorry, I got a dog trying to come in and another dog that's mad about it. Okay, so Kuma, sorry. Anyway, take good care, and I'll see you in the next one.